Hi everyone, welcome to episode 22 of Motorserve UK TV, which is now also our podcast, available on Spotify and all other platforms. Today I'm very pleased and excited to welcome our guest, who is the one and only Safaraz Ali from The Pathway Group. Safaraz is a social entrepreneur with over 25 years of experience in the skills, employability and care sector. He founded Pathway Group in the year 2000, which is an organisation that changes lives through skills and work. Safaraz is also the founder and chair of the Multicultural Apprenticeship Awards and Alliance, which recognises, celebrates the achievements and diverse apprentices, employers and learning providers. Safaraz is a fellow of the Institute of Employability Professionals and an honorary associate in residence at the Open University. He is passionate about promoting and supporting lifelong learning and career development, and is also a published author of 4 books, hosts his own podcast, and is a judge for several entrepreneurship and business awards. Safaraz always seeks to inspire others to pursue their goals and aspirations. As well as being an entrepreneur in his own right, Safaraz also supports established SME business owners to help them scale and grow, investment and mentorship. He acts on board level for a number of companies in both executive and non-executive roles, providing support, direction and challenge. Safaraz also writes articles for business magazines and guest blogs within his area of expertise. My favourite headline being "License to Skill, boost your business with on-the-job training." Safaraz has had an impressive career to date and he gives back so much to the community. This episode promises to deliver a lot of content and I've been really looking forward to this one. So let's get started. Please welcome Safaraz Ali to Motorserve UK. Hi, Salam Safaraz.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you very much for coming. It's been a long time trying to get you down.
It's been a while, it's been a while. My apologies.
No problem at all. I know you're really busy and it's difficult to get the time out during the day or evening, so thank you very much for coming down. So, I've been really excited about this, to be honest, because I've known you through the family for a long time, but on a professional level, the first time I saw you was at Chutney and Chat in 2016.
Okay.
And then from there, I've got to know what you do and seen some of the stuff you do.
Yeah.
But we've never sat and talked.
We've not had the opportunity.
It's always high and by at events.
Normally, it's the other way, where I see you on stage winning awards, and I'm sitting there, okay, you know what, there's another award, and actually I'm sort of congratulating you on your awards. So,
I appreciate it. But this is excellent, so I'm really pleased to have you here. So, let's start right from the beginning. So, you are in business. You run a very, mashallah, successful business now. You do a lot of things. But from your childhood, what's your background? Where did you kind of live? Like, what's your setup?
The beginning is a long time away. And I'm in my mid-50s at the moment. Born and bred in Birmingham. My both parents came here, Birmingham straight. Working. My dad started working for a company called IMI, which was part of ICI, so Imperial Metal Industries in Witton, and he was a furnace preparer for all his life. 28 years he's worked there, and comprehensive school, Hudgel Comprehensive. Born in Washadith, Alamock, Highfield Road, and been there for most of my life. Moved out fairly recently. But more or less in B8 for 40 plus years of my life.
Fantastic.
So I'm proud to be from Birmingham. I'm proud to be from Washington Al Rock.
And I bet over that time you've seen the community just flourish and grow.
It's changed massively.
Yeah.
You know what we've had to deal with in the beginning is completely different to the challenges now. Obviously, big in terms of racism, some of the issues, poverty. It's different now. It's some things have gone better, other things haven't. So it's just the way it is. It's just one of those things. But there's a lot of talented people in Birmingham, particularly in Alumrock, what you think there is. It's got probably a wrong sort of approach, or there's a bit of a stigma, but there's a lot of talent there. A lot of individuals who have progressed in terms of university and professional careers, definitely. And decided because they have choice to stay there because of the community, because of family, and it's a thriving community, and we love it there. I love it there, and as I said, absolutely proud to be from Birmingham and particularly from the Alumrock area.
No, fantastic. I bet, well, it's very convenient, isn't it? Everything's on your doorstep, and you've got good commuting links everywhere you go.
Absolutely.
So when you went to Hodge Hill School, and then did you go through the traditional?
Hodge Hill Comprehensive School.
Hodge Hill Comprehensive,
and I had a shock at the age of 16 because I failed all my GCSEs.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so that was a massive shock for me.
Yeah.
And to be frank with you, it shouldn't have been a shock, but it was a shock at the time because I didn't really do much study. And I failed all my GCSEs, and I had the option of either getting an internship or an apprenticeship at my dad's factory, IMI, or restarting career in terms of maybe a vocational qualification or a BTEC type qualification, or possibly getting a job somewhere else. And so I thought, okay, you know what, let me possibly consider working in the factory with my father. Went there for 3 days and struggled, and I think that was a good thing for me, because that shock of doing those 12-hour shifts and working in the furnace preparation area was a bit too much. So I left that. See, my father was happy the fact that I then went to Bourneville College, did a BTEC qualification, a BTEC first, and really I needed that shock really, because after that I've sort of pulled my socks up and started focusing on education. And for me, that was the thing where I said, you know what, education actually is the tool, the instrument that actually can get you out of the situation you're in terms of poverty and some of the challenges.
I bet you, when you saw what your dad did firsthand, I bet you had an appreciation for it.
And absolutely appreciating it, because before that I used to think, okay, you know what, dad just goes to work, and you don't understand what work is. And then the respect that I had for my father changed. You know, I was, you know, and again, you know, your whole relationship changes with parents, and you start seeing them differently. At the time, I thought, you know, it goes to work, and you don't think much about it. Work is work, and you think, okay, you know, other children are getting their Reeboks and so forth, and my dad sort of saying, oh well, wait, and you know, I'm having to do with something else, and Ascot's or something, Mercury, and as opposed to the brands, and but you start appreciating what your parents do for you, and also to a certain level, then I took a little bit more ownership, accountability, and sort of responsibility to say, you know what, I'm here because of myself, and I need to do this for myself. And then that sort of switched my gear. I needed that shock really, and then sort of Bourneville College gave me the opportunity of doing a BTEC. I then switched from Bourneville because the distance was quite far from where I was. 2 buses and 1.5 hours there and 1.5 hours back to Hall Green. Did my business and finance there. Did 2 years. You know, did quite well. Got a distinction all across.
Wow! And then contrast.
And then I went down the route of banking and finance.
Wow!
So I did a degree in banking and finance. Did that for 4 years. 1 year sandwich placement. And after that, really, I pursued financial services, so a compliance. So I wasn't, I mean, I've been introverted, sort of shy type guy anyway. I've never really been at the forefront of things, and I've never thought about business or entrepreneurship. It's more about, you know, what suits me, my personality, my skill sets, and I fitted into sort of compliance, which was all about the detail, understanding. It's very similar to sort of the legal profession in a way. Rules, regulation, how things work, and ensuring compliance, and predominantly paperwork related, and then move from that compliance back office to a little bit more front office, but more teaching. So I used to sort of train salespeople, show them the ropes in terms of how to do things, how to have conversations with customers, So even though I wasn't a salesperson, I was more doing it in terms of these are the regulations. You know, you get to know your customer.
Yeah.
These are the questions to ask. These are the things that you need to check off. Ensure that you ask all of these diligent questions. And a lot of it was about asking the right questions in the right way to try and extract information from people. Therefore, you can make a sort of informed assessment of the situation and then really give advice. And a lot of the financial advisors used to do it the other way around, talk about the product and not necessarily get to know the customer. This is the product, this is fantastic, this is what you need to get, that's the solution, as opposed to really bespoking and understanding it.
It's the KYC stuff, isn't
Absolutely,
it?
absolutely.
Building,
Absolutely. You know that very well. So I spent a good part of my life actually in compliance, financial services compliance, and then really moved into the whole understanding the mis-selling scandals, because a lot of financial services products have been mis-sold, unfortunately. We had a pensions mis-selling taking place. We've had endowments with profits that have been mis-sold. We've had mortgages that have been mis-sold, and different financial products that have been mis-sold. So there's been one scandal after another, and I've been at the forefront of dealing with some of these as a sort of a compliance consultant as well, with my expertise in terms of understanding that and looking at putting people in the position that they would have been had they not been mis-sold. So, you know, how does compensation work, or how do you actually work that out, and what's fair? How do you value that? So I've moved then from that work in terms of
what kind of age were you in this? Was this in your 20s?
This is after I finished my degree.
Finished your degree,
after I finished my degree. So really a good part of my life, sort of about 8 years. So you know, for up to the age of 30, it was all about career, and it's about progression. So some of the courses that I used to do were shorter courses, but in the financial services industry, one course after another, building your CPD, building your knowledge base. And you're continuously learning, so lifelong learning. I embraced it fully, you know, for the 15 years in terms of my career. I got to the point where I had the knowledge, I had the skills, but in some of the interviews that I was going for, I got overlooked, and partly because I came across as fairly one-dimensional, you know, a bit too much robotic, too much systems, process-led. And when you're going for higher positions, they want to get to know you as a person, and a lot of the time they want to get to know, you know, what you do after work, some of your extracurricular activities. And I didn't have any, and because I was quite boring and I didn't have any extracurricular activities, and I thought, what's the point of all this? And I felt that, you know, I got overlooked a number of times, and when I got feedback, he says, well, yes, you've got the knowledge, you've got the skills, you've got the experience, but they're looking for a little bit more. They're looking for what you do for the community. They're looking at the whole person, you know, in terms of your added value as well. And they're looking for that some element of leadership, you know, above and beyond. And because I struggled for that, I started looking at, okay, what can I do in terms of my time? And I saw an opportunity at Matthew Bolton College. It's part of Birmingham Metropolitan College now, where they were looking for governors. They were looking for people that can come on board from the community, who were lay people that can come in and potentially support the college. And I applied for that position. And partly I applied, well, a big part of why I applied was really for my own career development.
Yeah, CV building.
So I could have something on my CV that talks about other things apart from all the qualifications and all the experience. I liked that, and I thought, okay, you know what, let me go for that. And so I went for the position with Birmingham Metropolitan College. Did that for a year and a half. Didn't think about too much about, you know, as a business or as a career or anything along those lines. However, really got into it in terms of, you know, the impact that the college made, and I opened my eyes in terms of how important the college is for the community. So, you know, I used to think college, further education, 16 to 19, but the colleges, local colleges, were making a massive impact in the adult education market.
Yeah.
So at the time, we had a fair amount of refugees and asylum seekers who came over from different parts of the world, and the colleges were at the front of really reskilling, upskilling, educating through various qualifications. So ESOL was one of them, English for speakers of other languages. So I got to sort of understand that, got to know that, and really enjoyed it actually.
Yeah.
You know, where it was initially a tick box exercise for me, I really fell into that, and I thought, okay, you know what, this is really impactful stuff. And actually, I think, you know, if I was going to do something, this is the line that I want to go into. And bearing in mind, Cam, I said, you know what, I think I was excelling in my career, but I was looking for the next growth. And because I've sort of had a bit of a glass ceiling, I wasn't getting I was getting the interviews, but I wasn't getting the opportunity. And I was looking at, you know, how do I get to the next level? You know, how do I go, you know, the next step?
What drove you to do that? You know, because at this point were you like married and...
I got married at a very young age. I mean, at the age of 16, 17, and I was looking at really just create growth. I was looking at a position where I felt people that are with me, because I had, you know, the knowledge and the skills and so forth, that you know, I could do more. You know, as just a general mindset of growth, really. And it's not a case of the fact that I wasn't appreciative of the environment, or I wasn't appreciative of the organisations that I was working with, but I just felt that I could do more. I wanted to do more. I had the ambition to do more. I had a mindset of growth, and I thought, okay, you know what? I feel like I'm a bit stale here now. And what's next? What can I do? And you know, maybe looking back at it, I was probably not ready. I took rejection a little bit hard, but then I did reflect the fact that you know, I've got to do something about this.
Yeah, you did something about it.
And that was that. Something about it was actually the extracurricular activity. So I applied for Matthew Bolton, as I said, but then I also applied to another adult education college as well. And I thought, okay, you know what, because I've got the Matthew Bolton experience, I applied with an organisation in Warsaw as part of their sort of committee as well. So I started sitting on different committees, and I thought, okay, this is interesting. It's interesting in terms of getting out there, interesting in terms of, you know, who sits on these boards, how it works, the structure of governance, and from my perspective, I started seeing things in terms of the opportunities that were there as well. Yeah, bearing in mind, I'm not an educationist. I've just about got into financial services. I'm quite technical in terms of financial services, and I started thinking about, you know, social mobility in a big way. Started thinking about some of the opportunities, some of the changes in government policy that were taking place, and also potentially how I could benefit from that as an individual. But even then, I didn't really grasp the opportunity. I thought, you know what, it's not my level. You need to have X amount of capital. You need to have infrastructure. You need to have some history. But however, an opening came where potentially, Matthew Bolton College were looking for a franchise partner. I didn't know anything about a franchise, and because I was sitting on the board, they said, you know, we're looking for franchise individuals. If you wish to apply, you can. Obviously, you can't then retain your position on the board because obviously the conflict of interest policy that they have. However, there's an opportunity here, and which is what I did. I spoke to two colleagues that I used to work with. We used to work together, and I said, well, you may not know this, but I'm part of the Matthew Bolton College sort of community governance board. There's this opportunity taking place. A lot of changes taking place in the adult education market. Something called the Further Education Funding Council has come on board. It's going to be transitioning into learning and skills, and there's opportunities opening up here. Would you be interested? And this is what we did. We did a proposal, and because I understood really the regulation behind it and the sort of the way the trajectory was, and the distance that they were moving towards, I was able to put a proposal and win a franchise to deliver community provision for Birmingham Metropolitan College. And that was my first sort of foray into what I would call entrepreneurship or social entrepreneurship. Prior to that, I had no sort of ambition in terms of business. Yes, I had ambition to grow and develop, but more as a career professional. I always saw myself as a financial services sort of person, technical person.
Working within like a big organisation kind of thing. Yeah,
that's it. And compliance was my thing, and I thought, okay, this is what I want to do. And so there was a bit of a transition from there to the adult education market. And
how did you find that? When you first kind of left the security of employment.
Well, initially we planned it so it doesn't hit us straight away. So it was an element of this becomes sort of our evening work as opposed to. So we got the 9 to 5, and at the time, like it is now, you've got some flexibility. So I could go back to my employer and say, is there a possibility I can get some flexible working? We used to go to the office every day in Moseley initially, and then in Withell Green for a company called Botanic Assurance, and they gave us some flexibility. And with that flexibility, I was able to take some time off to attend meetings or pick up what I need to do in terms of that. So that flexibility allowed us to carry on with the day job. And luckily for us as well, because of the way our back office works, we're able to do things in our own time as well. So I was able to pick up on my work. So that allowed me at least a 3-year runway. If I didn't have that, I think the transition would have been a bit too much for me.
Yeah, more harsh.
I had responsibilities. I had at the time probably about 2 children as well.
Yeah, I was going to say family must be growing up.
So I'd moved out of my parents' house as well, and I had some responsibilities. And I thought, that was softer for me. It's a soft sort of transition. And initially, I thought it was going to take a year. I thought, initially I thought it was 6 months, to be frank with you. The 6 months became 12 months, and then I'm thinking, okay, the 12 months have happened. We're not ready yet. We're not quite ready yet. Maybe another 6 months. And then it's like a building project to a certain level. Yeah. So from the 6 months, eventually 3 years. And it came to the point.
That must be hard work in the two.
Yeah, it was hard work, but I think the passion was there, the interest was there, and I didn't see it as work. I actually was very excited, and for me, I sort of morphed into a different person where, I was thinking not necessarily what was going on in the financial services, but more in terms of the future. And at the time, future looked a little bit more bright because I had hope, where before I was feeling a little bit disillusioned, why am I not progressing? A bit disheartened. I had now hope, I've got something that I'm doing.
Fire in your belly.
This is something that I want to do, and I can see some progress, even though I couldn't see it in the work place. And I stopped going for promotions, and I stopped really at the time doing the extra studying as well in terms of the next course and the next course. I started focusing all my energy on the education market. And then really I started thinking about, okay, we've got certain skill sets that we've learned, which is, tender writing, procurement, how public sector works, how we actually run contracts, how we drive performance. So some of the stuff that government looks for in terms of supply chain or building a supply chain. And I thought to myself, okay, it's a different skill set. We've gone into this slightly by accident, but we can look at this whole public sector procurement market and start looking at opportunities. And really from there, I started thinking about, okay, what does the data look like? What's happening in terms of society? And the research was saying the fact that, the demographics are that we've got an aging workforce, aging society. We've got more and more people who will need care. We've got a change where public sector is moving away from actually delivering services to commissioning. So the public sector very rarely now delivers a service. So everything is commissioned. So your bin collection is commissioned to somebody else. everything IT is commissioned. They're very rarely now in terms of delivery. Now, where before, think about 25, 30 years ago, the public sector in terms of employer was massive. It's still big, relatively big.
It's all in-house.
But relatively big, but it's all been outsourced. So, everything now is run by organisations who are supply chain partners to the public sector. You still got schools who are run by the local authority, but you've got your multi-academy trusts as well.
Independent schools and stuff,
you've got all of that. So your further education colleges are still part of the public sector, but you've got all the adult education providers as well, apprenticeship providers. So there's a lot of outsourcing that's happened. Yeah. And this outsourcing is still within the public arena, but private companies or quasi sort of automated non-governmental organizations or sort of charitable sector or social enterprises, but it's outside what we call the first sector, so the public sector. So it's moving to sort of the third or fourth sector, third sector being social enterprises, and fourth really being a hybrid, so private, commercial, so those sort of organizations. And so there's a transition that's happened. I'll give you an example, Cam, if I may, fostering. So a lot of the local authorities used to have massive foster care teams, social work teams. So now there's been a growth in terms of independent foster care agencies, which are still within the rules of government, still regulated, procured by local authorities, but it's those independent organisations now who are providing the service. It's less and less now, as I said, the public sector delivering, the public sector is procuring. They're commissioning, they're procuring, they're responsible for it, but they don't deliver. So what they then do is they get organisations to tender, to bid, and they regulate those and ensure the fact that they deliver. Most of the time it's now managing those supply chains. So there was a skill set that I sort of picked up in terms of the adult education market, and I applied that to the home care market, domiciliary care, where we then moved into foster care, moved into pharmacy, which is again very similar. So if you think about pharmacies, so independent pharmacies, which are again, paid for by the National Health Service.
So what is it? So you get the people from the kind of community and you provide them training?
No, this is us as a provider. So there's different. So what's happened is different verticals. So there's adult education.
Yeah.
There's home care. There's foster care. There's pharmaceutical. These are all areas where effectively it's public services. Public services that we're delivering, but we're delivering it as a private organisation. But our customer is the public sector, whether it's the NHS trusts, whether it's the local authorities, or whether it's other organisations who ultimately then work for the government. But it's all regulated. It's regulated, and it's your customer is the public purse. And there's some similarities in terms of how procurement works, how you run these contracts, and then it's the specific knowledge. So we have our biggest division within our organisation is a company called Nationwide Care Services. We have 1,200 employees in that organisation, and we are the top supplier to Solihull Council. We do their hospital discharge contract. So anybody who leaves hospital from Solihull, we look after them in their own homes. So hospital discharge, hospital prevention.
Providing the people to go around, the carers.
So we have the carers that go into the individual's home. We have packages that we look after all those.
Depending on the needs,
So we do that. So the foster care again very similar. So we're on the West Midlands framework, working with Sandwell Council, working with Stoke-on-Trent predominantly.
So on the fostering, what do you have to recruit would-be parents?
We recruit foster carers. So the regulations are the same, and we recruit foster carers, foster parents. Our job is predominantly initially about promoting fostering, and then really the standards are the same, whether they go through the local authority or whether they go through an independent fostering agency, that regulation tells you what you've got to do. So it's very prescribed, it's very scripted in terms of what you've got to do. And that's another service. And the same with the pharmacy really to a certain level. So we set up a distance selling pharmacy called under the name of Nationwide Care Pharmacy. And we're supplying predominantly care homes and individuals. We deliver the medication to the individuals' homes. So before you had sort of predominantly retail pharmacies or community pharmacies. Most of that now is, you get the medication delivered to your house, to your workplace, and we're one of those companies that does that as well. Again, a lot of similarities in terms of how it works, regulation. So regulation and public purse is the customer. Yeah.
Okay. So what do you have to do with the pharmaceuticals? Is it picking it up from a certain pharmacy division, or is that yours as well? Do you have to do the pharmacy?
So we have a pharmacy that's registered.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
is that in Tyseley at your location?
At Tyseley.
Yeah. Okay.
At Tyseley, yeah. So we have a pharmacy. We've just expanded slightly in terms of the office. About 3,500 square foot. We've got about 30 people that work for the pharmacy. We've just installed new equipment, a robot as well in terms of
dispensing robot. I've seen them.
So we've got new technology involved. We used AI. We're using AI, and a lot of it is automated now. The things that's not automated is really the delivery. But effectively that business is a logistics business. So it is about planning.
Going out.
So it's really all about the logistics. So we get the customer prescriptions in. So the doctors, when they prescribe, if they know who the pharmacy is, automatically the prescription comes electronically, and then we deliver to the individual's home. Most of our customers are care homes. So what happens is we have groups of care homes that the prescription comes to us, we package it all together, box it together, and then we have a delivery that goes off. And that happens on a national basis, really. Currently, we're doing 30,000 prescriptions a month, which is a fairly big number, and we've grown that for now nearly 9 years now in terms of the pharmacy, 20 years for the health and social care, the home care business, and about 20 years as well for the adult skills business as well. So that's really where the focus has been. You mentioned Chutney and Chat earlier on. So as a result of some of the activities that we were doing, I thought also potentially I had this thing about doing more community stuff, networking, encouraging others. I also wanted some self-development myself because, as I said, I've been all my life I'm still very introverted and very shy guy. And I thought to myself, I need to get out of my shell as well. I need to try and now get onto this lifelong entrepreneurship pathway.
Because I bet with all that stuff that's been going on, you've been so busy, you've had your head down working on all this stuff. I bet you have been quite
very much head down. So I'm previously I'm not a sort of a meetings guy. It's always been paper based, pen pushing really effectively. And I thought to myself, I need to sort of develop my own personal skills, have some social skills, and I used to find it difficult to look somebody in the eye. I was one of those. I find it very difficult to look my father in the eye for a big part of my life. I struggled to be in the same room. I struggled to I had sort of anxiety in terms of talking to people. So I was very conscious. Like, for example, I'm looking at you now. I'm very conscious that I'm maintaining eye contact, and I couldn't do it. And so these are sort of the sociable skills that I've had to learn. I find it very hard to smile. I mean, your colleague was saying earlier on, you're not smiling. I've got to switch that on to a certain level, or at least be more conscious of it. It's not an act, but it's just the fact that sometimes I go back into my default. And sometimes people have said, he's quite rude to this guy. He just walks past me or whatever. It's not intentional.
Really?
So all of these sort of things that had to be more conscious of,
Yeah.
you know, a bit more conscious, more aware how I come across. I've been known to be abruptive as well, and be short, sharp with people, and it's not intentional. So for a big part of my life, I've been sort of apologizing, you know, and saying, okay, you know, I didn't mean that. Now I'm a bit more conscious and saying, you know what, how I come across is important. I'm not like that. I don't perceive myself as that. And as I said, I'm in my mid-50s, and it's been a journey of sort of hopefully some growth.
Yeah, development really.
Personally, professionally, you know, I've had to adapt, change, and learn more, and you know, I've been sort of developing my skills as well as an interviewer. I've, you know, got my own podcast, the Candid Conversations podcast. Developed my skills in terms of writing. Writing's been okay with me. I've been okay in terms of writing. And obviously now you've got ChatGPT, helps everybody, which is a fantastic thing. But I wrote my sort of 4 books prior to ChatGPT. But the skills that I really admire are public speaking, and sales skills, professional skills, personable skills. You know, if somebody's got those skills, you know, if you can put somebody at ease, if you can sort of have natural leadership, they're the skills that I really sort of respect and admire. I've not had that. So when somebody's got that, you know, critical thinking, some analysis, data, you know, those are things that have come a little bit more natural to me, a bit more natural to me. And but public speakers, you know, whenever somebody's a good public speaker, you know, I notice what they're doing, how they're doing it, you know, whether it's a learned thing, you know, body language, the whole sort of craft of public speaking, and you can sort of pick up sort of words. I've had a fascination with the English language as well. You know, words matter, how people say things matter. So, you know, these are sort of things that I've had a general interest, and sort of try to hone my own skills in terms of those areas, really. What we call soft skills, really. But these soft skills are absolutely massively important. And I see that come on a day-to-day basis when we're working with young people. So if you allow me, I'll tell you a little bit about Pathway Group, the skills and employability company. And, you know, we work with people in terms of upskilling, reskilling individuals. And I see on a day-to-day basis that, you know, we've got a lot of youngsters who, you know, they've got into the higher education world, they've got their degree, but they're not ready for the job market. You know, employers are saying that, the individuals are feeling that, because partly they haven't got the experience, they haven't adapted to what the world of work needs. And I can relate to that. You know, I can relate to that. I was lucky in my own career, the fact that, you know, I had the skills and I was able to get into a field, and the way I got in really was through an assessment centre. You know, so I did well with the assessment centre. But nowadays, you know, you need to have a bit of a
wide range of skills,
much more, you know, not one-dimensional, much more wider range of skills. You know, similar to the advice I was given when I was struggling in my sort of career growth. You've got to be more than one-dimensional. You know, you've got to come across as the potential for leadership, regardless of the role. Even if the role isn't a leadership role, the potential for leadership you've got to show. And you've got to show that not just in terms of, you know, what you say, but, you know, what you've been doing in the past. So it's not just about telling, it's about, you know, it's about showing. And it's about having examples what you've done. And understanding that people unfortunately haven't had the career advice, or they've not really had that support.
Well, they haven't gone out to look for the opportunities, have they? Because they've thought
they haven't got the social capital, Cam. They haven't got the network. They haven't got the connections, and they've not got that environment where, you know, it's more of a overall growth as opposed to just the academic element of it. People do, you know, a lot of parents invest in their children in terms of the academic skills. You know, you've got obviously you run an institution yourself, but a lot of do that, but they don't do these social skills. We don't have these scouts clubs anymore. We don't really have all the extracurricular activities. Some of them don't do the sports. They don't do the sports. They don't do all the other stuff, and that's the missing link.
So true.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's something that I've noticed like with my kids. They moved from state to private.
Okay.
And the one thing that I've noticed is they absolutely fill the diary with sports. Like so much stuff. They're doing so much different stuff. It's not all about academics.
It's the key.
Yeah.
And that's the difference, as I said, between the public sector and all the private sector, public sector, and your comprehensives. It's the whole person that the discipline and getting involved, having the habit of saying yes, which is your starting point. Be open to opportunities.
100%.
Grab those opportunities with both hands and see life in a different way. Have a little bit more ownership over your own development.
Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned about obviously your background when you're a child and the kind of upbringing. How many siblings do you have? How many siblings have you got?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm the eldest.
You're the eldest. Okay.
I'm the eldest, and then my other brother Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
He's 2 years younger
very well.
than me. Tanvir Ali, he's another 2 years younger than me.
Very well,
Sajjad works in the business, and then I've got Shiraz, and there's a little bit of a gap between me and him, about 15 years.
Yeah.
And then I've got one sister.
Yeah.
Sister as well. So 5 brothers and 1 sister.
MashaAllah, good sized family.
Yeah. I think you know 3 of them.
Yeah, that's it. I probably know them all by face.
Yeah, probably.
Probably. But so you being the eldest, do you have quite a lot of responsibility as a kid, like looking after your brothers and sisters?
Not as much. My father had a big role in that, and he used to do a lot of these things himself, and there wasn't that much of an age gap. Maybe more so with the youngsters because there's a fairly bigger age gap, so taking to school and so forth. But I wouldn't say I wasn't a parent. It was just an older brother, taking advantage of youngsters and saying, we'll go and make the tea and that sort of stuff. So I don't think I was the best of brothers at the time.
You learned delegation from young age.
So they tell their stories now and again. I had to do this and I had to do that and so forth and whatever, and have the fact that I had all the new clothes and used to have these pass me downs. And,
that's the way it works.
All of that sort of stuff.
Works in every household like that.
So,
you want to get used out of that, especially because the kids are growing so fast and with you guys.
How my birthdays were celebrated and theirs weren't, and
because
my dad then changed his mind, says no, we're not doing birthdays anymore, and all this sort of stuff. So they've got their own sort of stories of how they've been a victim and how they've been oppressed, but we have that banter.
Yeah, they all do. Even in our family, we're doing the same. Like the youngest, don't worry about it.
Are you the youngest, or you?
I was the youngest. But I had 2 elder sisters.
Okay.
So I was always quite.
Okay,
I was the boy. So we used to get everything. So I used to get how come he gets it all?
The golden child.
The golden child. Yeah, that's it.
Absolutely.
But no, okay. So you're the oldest. Do you think that? But because obviously you got married quite young, you mentioned before. So you married at 16, 17.
Yeah. 16, 17. A bit too young in some aspects of it, but however at the time I didn't really fully understand why it was an arranged marriage. I didn't fully understand it, resented it for a little while, and now I look back at it, I don't think I handled it that well really. A little bit embarrassed, but it's been the best thing for me in terms of that. I mean, initially, first couple of years, I don't think I was a good husband. I don't think I was a good child, good kid really. And I used to play the victim card myself. Actually, I used to blame others and have all of these things. And again, I would say it's quite selfish in my way because focus on study, but didn't really add value to the family or whatever. But I'm lucky that I got all of that out of my system very early. And then I've reflected on that, and I've sort of vowed to change as well. And I said, what, that's not the person I want to be. And
do you think there was an event or something that triggered that? Because that changed from your GCSEs to now being
partly religion. To be frank with you, I mean I sort of. I went to mosque and so forth, but I wouldn't say I really studied Islam, but because I started doing some self-study, and there's an institution that I went to in Nottingham, and I started really understanding it, and that I did off my own back in terms of my own self-study, and so that changed me in terms of how I'm more, how I look at things in terms of life and people and relationships and so forth, and I moved a little bit away from the cultural stuff to more of the religious stuff, and I think that transition, I'm ever so grateful for. And I do reflect on it and say, I'm lucky the fact that I found that change.
Yeah,
really.
that time.
Obviously we're all, in our family we're all religious and so forth, but there's different levels of religion. There's religion in terms of going through the motions, and there's religion in terms of actually it affects how you are in life. Actually, it's all part of you, and I managed to pick that up and
change your ways.
I did Hajj as well at a very early age, and luckily, as I said, I managed to change, and that change also then helped me in terms of how my relationships are with my siblings, how my relationships are with my parents, and I started seeing them as human. Where, as I said before, I struggled in terms of that rapport, the bond, and how I saw them. And as I said, things happen for a reason, and I'm ever so glad.
Yeah, they all did.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you had 2 kids at one point. How many kids do you have in total? Is it?
So I've got 3 children.
3 children.
Sorry, 4 children.
4 children.
3 girls.
The other one,
3 girls and 1 son. Yeah.
That was brilliant.
I don't know why I said that. Yeah.
But
I'm going to get killed for this.
You had 3 girls and 1 boy at the end. Yeah. So he's your
my youngest. His name is Qasim. Yeah. I'm sort of introducing him into the business.
Oh, brilliant!
I
was going to say, how old are they now?
He's 19. The eldest is 27. You're putting me on the spot here. This is harder than anything else.
It's just approximately.
This is harder than anything else. She's 28 actually. She's 28. Then I've got a 25-year-old and a 23-year-old, and then my son Qasim, 19. That's a tough question.
Yeah, that's it. I struggle now. I've got 3 boys, like 7 or 6. You forget.
Tough question.
Yeah, so we all do it.
So the eldest is in the business, so she's in Pathway. The second one, she's in the foster care business. The third one is a teacher, and the son, I've said to him, I'm not going to force your hands, but I don't want you to go down the university route. I want you to come into the business or take an apprenticeship with somebody else. Wow. And I
that was going to be my next question. It was going to be how you're guiding your kids and kind of what they ended up falling into.
So all the others went down the higher education route. But I have said to him, my mind has shifted as well about higher education, the impact that higher education has really on...
When you say like universities,
the traditional universities. And they're fit for purposeness in terms of what the world of work needs and the value that they're bringing. I'm not against universities, but I don't think it's right for everybody. And apprenticeships is the thing that I've been promoting through some of our initiatives. Founded something called the Asian Apprenticeship Awards back in 2016, which is then now formed into a Multicultural Apprenticeship Awards. So in our space, in the work that we do, we've got about 6 brands, all about multicultural apprenticeships. The Multicultural Apprenticeship Awards, Multicultural Apprenticeship Alliance, the Apprenticeship Diversity Social Mobility Forum, Multicultural Apprentice Network, the Festival of Apprenticeships, the Apprenticeship Branding Conference. So everything about apprenticeships and the promotion of apprenticeships. And been doing that.
How big is the team now at Pathway? You mentioned like certain divisions.
So we've got about 100 people directly in the skills and employability arena. And under that, we have the ThinkFest arm, which is the events arm. We have
is that Qasim Chowdhury?
Qasim Chowdhury leads on that. And we've got a gentleman called Jack Deep who leads on the Multicultural Apprenticeship Skills Alliance. We've got Martin Chandler who leads on the actual apprentice network, and there's other people who are part of that team as well. Brad, who does the media side of things as well.
Brad,
And so there's quite a a fairly established team that we have that all are about the ecosystem of apprenticeships. So, we've got a fairly wide remit in terms of what we're trying to do, but it's all the promotion, the engagement of apprenticeships, whether it's with employers, whether it's with industry itself, the sector itself, whether it's so-called hard to reach individuals, or whether it's actually going and lobbying and getting the message across in a public affairs capacity. So a lot of our work is also researching, lobbying, which is not a dirty word in my language, but getting the message across
of what the market, what everything needs.
What the commissioners, the funders need to do to actually get the right level of procurement, and how policy needs to switch in terms of the skills arena. So apprenticeship is only a part of it. It's skills as a whole, skills and employability. So getting people into a job, a better job and a long-term career. So it's all about that really in terms of that.
You know what? I'm absolutely amazed by the amount of stuff the Patho Group's involved in, because I knew I've seen a lot of it, but not to this level. How many hours were you working when you set it up? You must have put a lot of work into this.
Yeah, there's been periods where I would say I've been obsessed by work, obsessed by what I'm doing, and there's been periods where it's been the only thing I'm doing. So I used to be a massive fan back in the days of sort of Neighbours and Home and Away, and so these soaps, and I've not watched TV in terms of that part of it. And if there's anything that I do watch, it's likely to be podcasts, to be frank.
Really?
That's the only thing I watch.
Just hunger for learning.
Only thing on YouTube that I watch, or something Pacific.
Yeah.
So if I've got something Pacific, then I'll go. I'm not Netflix or a Amazon Prime type of guy. I don't watch anything.
Wow, so there's all information. And
so I'm quite boring as a dinner table, because if you're talking about what are you watching, there's nothing. I can't relate to what's going on on EastEnders, and I can't relate to what's going on in terms
sports
of
and stuff.
I don't have a team that I follow or any of that. So it's pretty. I'm still boring, and I've been boring all my life, but I have been I have been obsessed by some of the work that I've been doing.
Look at the outcome, look at the delivery that you're providing to people in the communities. Yeah, it's remarkable.
And then sometimes I think, I read these things where, if you're on your deathbed, the thing that you're going to think about is, you're not going to think about work. And to be frank with you, as I said, I'm in my mid-50s, and the life has gone very quickly. Yeah. But I don't feel like I've missed out anything. I don't feel like I should have gone for that holiday in France or whatever. I don't feel that. Maybe I'm not. I'm seeing things still in my own sort of world. But I just feel I've done what I've done, and hopefully we've made an impact. And
you certainly have, because we were talking about Chutney Chat. You mentioned it before, but so you're doing all this stuff with Pathway Group. Yeah. And then was it Chutney Chat? Did you kind of form that? Was that with Abid? Was that? So, did you bring him in to kind of run that?
Chutney Chat is a quirky brand really that was formed, but it comes on the back of a few other things that we were doing. So we created a networking group called Pathway to Grow. Yeah. And the first brand that we created was called Coffee and Natter. Yeah. So the Coffee and Natter, it was free networking, and people used to sort of come, and we used to
Was that in the daytime?
In the daytime. So we had a set time in the daytime, 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock on a Wednesday, last Wednesday of the month, and we pushed a sort of a networking brand out there. From there, we moved on to another networking brand called Samosa Saturday, which is a women's only networking brand. And then from there, I wanted to launch something which was bigger, and so it's going to surpass this, which is really the Chutney and Chat. And at the time, I thought, what, I need to really partner up with somebody. I know my sort of skill set, so the areas that I lack, and I need really somebody who's got a wider range of skills, who's more comfortable in public speaking, who's more comfortable being the face, who's more of a connector than myself, because I haven't got the
And
personality.
then you've got Mr. Connector,
And that's it. That's it. And
Mr. Networker himself.
And I saw Abid, who I knew from before,
Yeah.
because he was in the insurance field. He's still in the insurance field.
Yeah.
And I was. So I knew of him. Our office was on Stratford Road, and his office was on Stratford Road, and I knew about his work. But we got caught talking and started sharing ideas, and I thought, you know what, this is the guy that I want to partner up with.
Because it's right from the start, wasn't it? The first event.
Yeah. So I propositioned. I did a sort of a bit of a proposal to say this is what it is. And there's a lot of things that we agreed on. Some of these things that we said, okay, you know what, we're not going to work everything out, but as long as we've got the rudimentals of what we're trying to do, then fine, which is what we did. And Chutney Chand is a I would, even if I'm saying myself, is a brand that's out there. It's known. Yeah. We just in December had probably our biggest event.
Yeah. So it was massive.
We had a fairly large audience for a networking event. And
it's huge. How many people there? 400?
400, just over 450. Yeah, 450.
Yeah.
We had Neil Masarat, who is property empire guru.
Yeah.
Very well known in terms of his journey. He did a keynote speech. We had our awards. And it's a fantastic community. Fantastic community.
Because I've been part of it since 2016.
You've been part of it.
You've
been a key part of it, and it's just and people feel like they're part of that community as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So nobody owns it. It's not. There's no membership. It's a loose affiliation, and we have an event. If you want to turn up, fantastic. If you don't, you don't.
Or if you can't make it, there's no pressure.
There's no issue. And if we've had people who have come to certain events and then not come, but then after that, because they've got a bond and a connection, it's like an old friend. You meet an old school friend, and you can hit it off straight away, even though you may not have had communication for years.
15, 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like that. It's like a bond. It's a connection. It's a community. And we've had people in that community who have worked together, become business partners, who buy from each other. And a lot of people do say, we were first introduced to each other at a Chutney and Chat event or a pathway.
From my experience, I think I've met hundreds of people through it.
Yeah.
And like the network and the people, customers that come here, then I've got services off them. Zohar, our marketing manager, I met him here at Chutney and Chat. So
absolutely, yeah. So there's
a big network.
There's many of these, individuals who've been introduced to each other through that platform, through that forum. The whole idea that we want to do was really actually create a platform that allows people to network, learn and grow, which is our tagline. The key part of it is the learning as well. So it's just not just networking, not just connectivity, but there's a whole theme around having a keynote speaker, having some bites of lessons and so forth, and so forth, and then allow you to have that mindset of growth, creating a network of peers. We learn from other people predominantly. We can learn from people who are at the same level as us. We can learn from people who are probably coming into maybe behind us in terms of some experience, and also people who maybe slightly ahead of us who've got some experience, and creating an environment of peers, a supportive environment. But there's no money changing hands necessarily, but it's an environment where you sort of support in the right way, and make it fit for purpose in terms of what that support is, and I think that's the ambition with that. We're not here to make money from it, and we're not really here to say we own this, but it is about creating an environment where people feel they're part of that, and like a badge of honor, like your good self. You could say, I've been part of that from the beginning, and I'm happy to be associated with that. A lot of my friends and connections have come from that, and that's more than enough, really. That's a big blessing that somebody can talk about it in a positive light.
Well, I've from my own personal perspective, I've done a lot of business on it. Insurance, legals, finance, I've done loads. We've got loads of customers, and that led me to the chambers. Obviously now there's a connection with IOD. And it introduced me to more and more people, and I've had 2 trips to Parliament out of it.
Yeah, wow.
Which has been, you know.
Yes. I mean, the thing with Pathway to Grow and some of our networking brands is that, you know, we do have alliances with others. We're not in competition. So what we
it's all connected,
because we're not looking to take fees for anybody. We've not charged anybody really for membership.
Yeah.
So that allows us then to have that affiliation with others, have that strategic alliances, strategic partnerships, where they don't see us as a threat, and we add value to them. They add value to us, and it's creating that real win-win-win relationship. And we've done that over the years. We did that with BNI. Yes, we've done that with Chambers. We've done that now with IOD. There's many other groups as well. New startup groups as well, networking groups. We did that with 4N networking groups.
Yeah.
We did that with Action Coach, the whole Action Coach program.
You got Jimmy from Phoenix.
There's many different groups and associations and clubs and brands out there that we've worked with as a true partner, and hopefully a partner of choice. And that's been really the main motto for us, the fact that, I want to create a win-win environment. And overall, it's about encouraging growth and entrepreneurship and allowing people to develop their skills and have that slightly higher ambition, aspiration. And, entrepreneurship, as you know, is difficult. I wouldn't call myself as a natural entrepreneur in that respect, but we've had to learn their craft and develop ourselves. And
the main thing, you actually get up on stage, actually in chat, and your audience is getting bigger. And you look like a natural.
I've still got stage fright.
Really?
I've still got stage fright, and
I wouldn't think that now.
I've still got stage fright, and I'm still sort of still very nervous. But I would say, if somebody can, get themselves out of their traditional comfort zone, and small elements of progression, and you see that, I think it's a positive thing, and I would say that to anybody.
Definitely.
I've seen youngsters now who, they've got home skills. You talk about, public schools, the private schools. Big part of it is about public speaking, how you come across, and so forth. They teach you that from a young age. We've never had that.
No.
We've never had the ability to really have debates or discussions, or be able to talk about a topic, critically analyze. We've not had those skills, and some of the business people that we're with, they've become accidental entrepreneurs. They've not really learned their craft. They've not really been taught anything, and the way they're learning is through experience. But one of the best way to learn is really through somebody else's experience, and if we can create an environment where we can nurture that, hopefully there's some positivity towards that community.
It's been a huge success in my view. So hats off to you and to Albid for everything you delivered there. So it's been really good. So looking for the future, anything new on the agenda? Is there anything you can share? I thought there might be.
Thank you. I'm on a personal level. I talk about lifelong learning, and you mentioned IOD. You just touched on IOD. I'm sort of on a course. I've been more or less studying most of my life. There's been periods where I've gone really deep into business, and I've not had time to do anything else. But I'm sort of reflecting on my sort of skills at the moment, and the IOD have got a program on a chartered director program, and we're all directors in our own businesses, but we've not really been taught directorship. And the rules and regulations and governance, very similar to what I would say in terms of the highway code. We probably know it a little bit, but I would say if you asked us all the questions now, we probably wouldn't have the knowledge, and we get by. We get by. So if you've ever done a speeding course or whatever, you think, okay, I didn't know that. So we get by. And the same way with the world of business and being a director, there's certain responsibilities, certain sort of rules of governance, and a lot of it is still regulatory, but quite a bit of it is how you approach problems and so forth. So I'm on a program of the Chartered Director program. I've done my certificate already in company direction. I've done my diploma. I'm now on to the next phase.
Wow.
So I wanna do that on a personal basis. I feel like I think I need to get that across.
It's just been a massive. You're just thirsty for information.
I'm doing that. I'm writing my 5th book.
I was going to say we're just going to be one of those.
I've got 3 that I bought with you that I want to present to you.
Thank
but
you so
the 4th
much.
one I'll have to order and get to you because I've run out of that. So I'm on my 4th one.
Yeah.
But this is the first one that I wrote, and I'm conscious that I don't want to. The camera the display. So the first one was 52 bites of business wisdom for leaders and entrepreneurs. The second one, cannily titled Another 52 Bites, and the third one is specifically for staff. So it's about attracting, retaining, and growing your team to grow your business. And the brand is called Canny Bites, and because they're short bites of what I would call knowledge,
information.
So when I used to talk to people about reading or learning, people sort of didn't really do much of that. The network that I was in, and bearing in mind, I fell into sort of education, and I've had to learn for career development and learn technical stuff. I thought, okay, you know what, it's not for everybody. So I had and the people that I was talking to predominantly said, yes, I've been recommended a book, but they've struggled to finish the book off. So people, go and get a book, they've been recommended, and what happens is rather than self-development, what I call shelf development. So it just goes on the shelf as opposed to self-development. You pick up the book, you read a page or two, you think, so the intentions are right. You make the right intention, but what happens then is
piling up on your bedside
table.
You
can't, something else comes up. So then somebody else recommends a book, and then you buy another book, and then you think, okay, I'm going to get around to it, and I'm going to go on holiday and take my books. And reality, it doesn't happen. So I thought to myself, okay, I want to create maybe a book which allows people to pick the book and drop it any time, really. And if they want to study further, they can go and do that. So that's why I aptly titled it 52 Bites of Wisdom. So even if it's like 52 weeks, they could just pick something up and say, okay, that's interesting. Let me go and research it. Let me go and maybe
expand further on that.
Go deeper into that topic. So these are just sort of tasters. It's like having tasters. So did the first book, got some good feedback. Did the second book, added another 52 bites, aptly titled Another 52 Bites, and then I changed it to a little bit more detailed. And the topic that I was really into at the time was about staff development, employee development, and workforce development, because that's what I've been so that's the attract, retain, and grow your team to grow your business. So I did that, and then the 4th book, which I said is not here, is how you successfully scale up to grow your business to either sell, exit, or just for the system to run it. So that's successfully scale up to grow your business or exit is the 4th book.
Brilliant.
The one that I'm working on.
So you're working on number 5?
I'm working on number 5, and I have been working on number 5 for a little while. I have got it's all done. It's all done and dusted. I've given it to an editor to come back and give me feedback on. It's changing from Canny Bites to Canny CEO. So the book is now called Canny CEO as opposed to Canny Bites. These are, and that's a book aimed at SME CEOs, SME business leaders, and it's I don't like the word. I don't like using the word Bible, but I'm trying to find another word. But it's like a Bible of a book here that allows people to sort of dip in and go deeper into some aspects of it from a CEO for an SME. So it's like an MBA, but more relevant, and hopefully SME business owners will look into that and say, this is something what it is. It talks about obviously the whole element of not necessarily the entrepreneur journey, but some of the difficulties. How do you overcome some of those issues? how as entrepreneurs we get distracted. So one of the biggest things that we do is we've got a core business, we think it's going well, but we then get distracted and start looking at something else. Then what happens is the team, the systems and so forth, they can't do things the way that we used to.
Yeah.
And then we get distracted and we get dragged back in. Then we get dragged back into the business and then we're firefighting and we get overstretched and so forth. So that's just one of the challenges. Another challenge is that we keep everything inwardly, so we're very much in terms of we find it hard to talk to people.
Yeah.
So who do we talk to? So we have a
Environment
sort of a bit of a facade really.
Yeah.
We have an element of not fake it till you make it, but fake it because we don't know what else to do. So we just keep up front, and we find it very hard to open up, very hard to be vulnerable, and discuss our issues. And because we don't discuss those issues, we're not having those grown-up conversations. We're a little bit delusional and possibly in denial. And what then happens is it picks up and it hits us really smack in the mouth in terms of some of the issues. So these are some of those things. And then having that real network. Everybody talks about having mentorship, but it's having the right level of support. No one person,
Right people.
no one person does it all.
Yeah.
And it's about who you're comfortable with and having maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 people that you can sort of go and individually talk about this issue, that issue, that issue,
certain
whatever.
things.
So these are the sort of basics really. And when somebody looks at it, they're going to say, yeah, this is common sense. And it is common sense, Cam, but I've put it in a way where it's a reminder for us to say, you know what, we know it. It's not rocket science as such. It's something that we all know to a certain level, but sometimes we don't apply it. And it's about, it's a reminder of, and that book is called Candid CEO. So it's combining some of the things from the third and the fourth book, and putting a little bit more structure in, putting a little bit more framework in, and try and give a bit more clarity. So there's a lot, this word clarity is throughout the book, clarity on, where you are currently, clarity on where the gaps are, clarity in terms of the next phase, in terms of your growth. What's worked well in the past, what you've struggled with, and being a little bit more emotionally aware. And a lot of it is about inward reflection in terms of your own journey as a CEO, your own journey as a business leader. So I'm proud of that book. It's still early days. It might take me another 6 months, 9 months to get it out there. But
where can you get this stuff from?
So this is all on Amazon.
It's on
So
Amazon,
it's all self-published. It's all on Amazon. There's 4 books. When you type my name into Amazon, you'll get that. And
I noticed because your personal brand development is with the books. Because when I was doing my research for this, you've got a really good website as well. So you've got your
I've put a effort in terms of having my own website. It's more than a page. It's more than a page. I think it's nearly 100 pages behind everything else. So there's about 45 pages which are public facing, and then a lot of my blogs. So what I did was I used to write blogs on a platform called Blogspot and a platform then called Medium. And some of it was on LinkedIn. I've been active on LinkedIn from day one, from 2000. Well, I say day one, from 2005. Been fairly active on LinkedIn. And really being focused on that whole personal branding and that whole development, and I've done quite a lot of writing for either on a sort of blog or publication. So I write for the business influencer. And then what I thought was I'm going to have it all together in one place. And that's really been the journey in terms of the development of my website, safaraz.co.uk, where you can get to know a little bit more about some of the work that we've done. We call, as an example, I talk about the fostering service. I've called those brand stories, how the idea came about, what the challenges were. So there's a whole story on FI foster care, there's a whole story on the pathway to growth journey, story on the pharmacy, the domiciliary care, some of the events company, ThinkFest, some of the other initiatives as well. So there's a whole, what we call brand stories, how we've created these names, and not just the names, the identity, the product, the business itself. So creating a name and a logo is one thing, but creating the whole ecosystem. How does it fit in? How do you prioritize something, and then how do you actually get that to be a system and a process that can run without you? Then you can say it's a business. So therefore, those business brand stories, that's on the website. But yeah, in terms of next steps,
really
definitely
yeah.
Canny CEO, hopefully,
Yeah.
Inshallah this year.
And your podcast is also
podcast. I'm normally on your side. And I was saying to your good self, I love your interviewing skills, because the reason is I look at things now from a perspective of somebody who's in the game. So when you look at cars, you'll see it from a perspective of a professional, and you look at the detail and you pick that up straight away. And the way you do things as well, I'm looking at it from a perspective of what's he doing, how is he questioning, your engagement with the individual, how your questions sort of flow, the fact that you allow the person to get comfortable. There's an art to that. The fact that you get the best out of those individuals, the fact that you're probably doing maybe 5% to 10% of the talking, and you've got a good balance there. You're not making it all about yourself. And I've said all of that. I'm picking all of these things up, and there's not many podcasters that I've come across, particularly who do that well as your good self. So for me, you are the Joe Rogan of Birmingham and Birmingham podcast. You have honestly a way about yourself, very calm, and you get good rapport with the individuals, a lot of good camaraderie, and you get the best out of that individual, which is what hopefully podcasting is about, and hopefully giving value to the audience.
100%.
So more of that. I know this is episode 22. 22.
That's it.
So I've no competition here, but I'm slightly ahead of you.
Yeah, that's it. Because I know you're more established on it.
So I've done 60.
Just a little bit ahead.
Slightly ahead of you. I've done 60.
Triple.
That's right. Yeah. So I've done 60.
Yeah.
But what we do is we sometimes put them into 3 parts. So we've published about 170 out there altogether, 2 parts or 3 parts, but 60 is what we've recorded. Yeah. And predominantly we've recorded our podcast with people from the career sector. So, individuals who are in the field of apprenticeships or in the field of early year careers or HR professionals. That's the market that we've been aiming for. Yeah. So it's not entrepreneurship, it's about careers. Yeah. It's about apprenticeships, it's about workforce, some of the challenges, and most of my guests have been predominantly blue chip, people who work in blue chip larger organisations, and
who want the experience of it,
and who are in those roles, coming in from those perspective of, their recruitment, their strategy on either diversity, equity, inclusion, or their strategy on workforce development, upskilling people, how they go about recruiting new talent, and what are those organisations doing in terms of best practice, in terms of real sort of self-development and learning and development. So a lot of these are L&D professionals, HR or early year professionals. That's the market that we've aimed Canny Conversations podcast for. Canny Conversations. So that's the podcast Canny Conversations. So very similar to obviously what Canny Bites the books
for your brand.
And then you got Canny Conversations.
Where's that? Where can people find that? Is that on YouTube?
So predominantly we've had a slight change in tact. So we do, when we record, we do record video. So we have the video, but what we focus on is the audio, because our audience has predominantly been listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and so forth. And those numbers were fairly high. So when I was looking at the YouTube numbers, I wasn't getting above 10 or 15. I was like disappointed. I thought, what's going on there? The audience just wasn't coming on YouTube for me. So I've struggled a little bit in terms of the YouTube numbers, and I'm thinking, what's this? The 15, that's three or four of this just myself and so forth. And what's happening? I'm not getting the list. I'm not listening. I'm not getting the viewership.
It's hard on YouTube. It is hard.
I find it very hard. And I thought, what? But on the numbers in terms of the audio, the numbers were significant. And I thought, okay, you know what, we'll focus on the audio. It seems like the audio has been promoted internally. So as an example, Lloyds Bank did their recording on podcast. They put it on an internal circular, and they put a link in for the Spotify, and they're more comfortable in terms of that. They put and it's very similar to other organisations. The audio is what that audience was listening to. You know, I do look at YouTube a lot, and my preference is probably YouTube more than possibly Spotify or some of the audio. But we just changed tact, and most of our effort and focus is really on the listening experience. You know, so we focus more on some of the music behind the scenes. There's some, you know, elevation of the words, and the sound. Get the sound right. So
whereas as you've seen here today,
this is all visual. You know, you're very good at that in terms of the lighting. You know how it is, your camera setup, and so forth. So we've more on the audio side, and that's where our focus has been. And that will carry on. Hopefully, inshallah, that will carry on. Hopefully, CEO will carry on, and then really it's about. It's our 10th year for our awards, the Multicultural Apprenticeship Awards. We've got that later on this year. We're expanding some of our conferences, so Apprenticeship Branding Conference, we've got Engage going on. We've got plans to grow some of our ecosystem on some of our promotional stuff. And carry on with that really in terms of the focus.
This December, you're going to need a bigger hall for Chutney and Chat again?
Well, you know, I think if we can maintain what we did last year, I'll be more than happy. You know? Because that for me was like really pushing the boat, Cam. It really was pushing the boat, and I was like thinking, okay, you know, how are we going to do it? This is going to be a big liability for us, because we want this to wash its own, you know, to not be a financial liability to us, but at least, but we're not looking to make money from it. We don't want to make money from it, but what we do want to do is be in a position where it holds its own. So as long as it can hold its own, then we can run it forever and a day. You know, which is what it is, and without diluting the brand, without diluting what our offer is, and without going back and saying we want membership fees, because we've been doing it for 10 years plus without that. And then, you know, hopefully the Multicultural Apprenticeship Awards, as I said, 10 years, Chutney and Chat again, obviously we'll carry on with that, and hopefully, you know, just do more of what we're doing, and see where we are. If there's opportunities for other things, we'll look at that. I'm personally looking at acquisitions now. So, you know, a lot of our work has been organic. So the growth has been organic over the 20 years. I mentioned the fact that it's our 20-year anniversary as well for Nationwide Care Services. But a lot of that growth has been organic. I feel like if there's an opportunity to acquire a team, the right people, particularly in the domiciliary care area, the fostering side, or anything that's connected to what we're doing, pharmacy, another area, then we're open to acquisitions as well. And that's where I've been pushing the personal brand a bit more outward facing, a little more where people are okay to sort of contact me, read a little bit about me, to try and understand who I am. So you asked about my whole life story. I've got a section on my website called My Whole Journey, My Life Story. So it's got the whole, you know, transcript on that. We put a lot of effort in terms of that. I put some effort in terms of some of our sort of the offer that I have. You know, I'm open to sitting on certain boards. You know, as I said earlier on, I gained a lot of experience in terms of sitting on boards of colleges and other institutions. There's a lot of value that you can not only give but learn, pick up as well. It opens your mind, your horizons, what people are doing.
You're the prime example of that.
Because
look how much you learned.
Absolutely. So I'm open for that. Open to support others. You know, get involved with organisations, particularly if they're sit in what I would call the social economy. That's something that I sort of
interest area.
Really interested in terms of the social economy drive, pushing on that agenda, see what the opportunities there are, and see where we are. You know, again, you know, when you've got kids now who are developing as well, so I want to focus a bit on them in terms of their aspirations, their development. I've got two daughters who are in the business. I've got my son who's going to come into the business. My other daughter, she's gone down her own route. She's teaching.
Yeah. And what age group is she teaching?
She's primary.
Primary, okay, so right in the scale, not further.
So primary, yeah. So you know, I want to develop that relationship where, you know, I can be that support structure. I can be that, you know, can be that mentor if I can use that.
Did you know, your other kids who came into business, did you ask them to come into business, or did they naturally kind of magnate towards it?
I didn't ask them. Their mother asked them. Yeah,
Okay.
Initially, and I was reluctant at the time, to be frank with you. So the second one qualified as she went down the route of law. So she did her law degree. Then she went down the LPC route, and then she got a job as a legal executive at a law firm in Washington, dealing with family law cases. And she wasn't enjoying it. She was a lot harder. It's very stressful, you know. Family law is very stressful. You think it's easy. Law is not easy. No. You know, because you're dealing with people's problems, issues, and so forth.
Emotional problems.
She was too much of an empath. So she was picking up on all of these issues and frustrations, and found it very hard to deal with that, and all these problems. All these problems, and you know, and she took a little bit of time away from work, and during that period, her mother, just as a way of encouraging to get out of the house, basically said, you know what, take her to the office and so forth. And that's by chance again. You know, I got her involved in HR within our team, and she just connected with Kathy Kubiak, who works in our organisation, has been for 10 plus years. Just connected and built a rapport, and from there, that environment was created for her to grow, and then she's really looked at her growth. So she's left the law, got into the business by chance. The older one, very similar again. You know, she's in between jobs. The company she was with got, you know, was making redundancies. She was working her redundancy period. Mother said, you know what, go to that firm, because she didn't want them laying around in the house really. And again, but just by chance, she now works in our skills business, and she's been there for 5 years now. You know, a fair amount of time, and with my son, that's been me sort of trying to sell the possibility of the world of work, not necessarily our organisation, but the world of work, either apprenticeships or something else. And so, you know what, look at these, because you'll have faster, quicker growth, and you know, the university degree probably isn't going to help you in terms of what you're trying to do. It definitely will if you're clear in terms of what you're trying to do. And certain professionals, but not necessarily, not the generic degrees. So you know, so I've sort of pushed him and encouraged him a little bit on that, and for that last year or so, he's been sort of pondering, thinking. I took him to the RAF base camp as well. So, you know, showed him the RAF careers. You know, got him introduced to Severn Trent Water, about the apprenticeship careers there. You know, he got talking to British Aerospace as well, in terms of British Aerospace and Rolls-Royce in terms of their careers. And then, you know, I said, you know what, then got him onto certain portals, and got him a little bit of coaching in terms of the world of work. And then in the end, he made a conscious decision, which I'm glad that he has, and I've fully embraced him with open arms to say, yeah, I want to work within the business, and this is what I want to do. So I'm currently working with him to put his sort of plan in place in terms of what we're going to do for the first year. What does that career plan look like? So that's I'm enjoying that at the moment, in terms of putting that structure in place, in terms of this is where you are, this is your starting point on these skills. We want you to get to a position where you can build on these skills, and that's some mapping that out really, mapping that career plan out for them. So yeah, enjoying that at the moment, and see how things are.
Excellent. So as you're here, we have to ask everyone this question. But so, what's been your car journey? What's your thoughts on cars? Is it a tool for the job? Do you love cars? Yeah, where do they sit with you?
Cam, it's not straightforward for me in terms of that. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm fanatical about cars, and I don't live in terms of the car that I drive and so forth. So I know the car that I drive, but it's not like important for me at the moment.
Yeah.
But in terms of the journey, it's been an odd one. I mean, obviously when you're younger, you start thinking about sort of supercars and so forth. And we all drawn car. We've all sort of painted and drawn cars in the early days. So the Knight Rider kit and so forth. And, we did that. I mean, personally, I didn't buy my first car until probably about 7 or 8 years after that. After I passed my driving test, mainly because I was lucky the fact that my father used to drive. I used to have night shifts. I mean, he used to work night shifts, and so therefore I had access to the car. And the way I am, I was very practical. So not much of a risk taker. Quite boring in that respect. And I thought, what, this is a great opportunity. Yeah. I just want to drive my dad's Ford Sierra. And for the first sort of year, I didn't even put petrol in, so that caused a bit of my dad used to complain to the mum and say, what, he doesn't even put petrol in. I don't mind it too much. And so I started putting petrol in and managed to do that for another few years. And then it came to the point where I thought, I need to get a car now because of work and some of my work commitments and, coming back a little bit later and so forth. So I bought a first car, was Toyota Corolla. I remember the registration number, but to be frank with you, it's a fit for purpose. It was a job, car fit,
solid car.
Just that's all it was. And after that, because I had a bit of success in my career as well, and I thought, okay, I'm buying something a little bit better. Worst mistake I made, honestly, Camp. Worst mistake I made. I bought something called Renault Laguna, Burgundy. Looked the part, honestly, looked really good, but nightmare in terms of maintaining it, nightmare in terms of the car wouldn't start. Really? So for me, it's like imagine having a Ferrari or a Lamborghini on your drive, and the damn thing doesn't start. So this is the issue that I had with my Renault Laguna. After that, I've gone from one car to another. I can't even remember, to be honest with you. It's just, sometimes it's been because my business partner, he's bought a car, he wants to move on. I thought, what, or my brothers, they've got a car available. I thought, what, I'll buy it. So I've not gone in and negotiated a car really after that first two cars. I've bought it mainly from friends and family. I've not gone to a dealer, I've not gone to somebody to actually purchase or procure a car. I've not looked at Auto Trader. I've just gone from one to another because of friends and family, and I've just picked up cars that way. Until recently, where it's been more beneficial to possibly get a lease on a car, in terms of a company lease. So for the last 6-7 years, it's been company lease. The accountant in-house sorts all that out. Makes sure the fact that it's tax efficient. It's the right thing. It works for ourselves in terms of our insurance and everything else. And it just gives that car. You do your 3-year deal. After that, he gets another one, and that's it. So I've not really got too involved in that.
There's no emotion behind it then?
No, but I tell you what I have realised from an employer perspective and from a business perspective is that cars are a big part of a lot of people's lives. It's their identity. It's a big part. Exactly that. If you're looking to retain people, if you're looking to attract people, if you're looking to grow a team, you've got to see what makes them tick. You've got to understand what makes those individuals be the best version of themselves. And for a lot of people, it's cars. So you've got to, you can't be judgmental. You've got to be attuned to that, and you've got to a certain level, create a win-win. So, we've got to embrace that culture. So we've given cars as bonuses, we've given cars as a way of attracting people, retaining people, in terms of progression as well. You hit this target or you get this to the level, then we'll get this, you'll be allowed to do this and so forth, or whatever the case is. So that's how we use cars now in our work and in terms of how we do things. It's a fantastic tool to understand in terms of really getting people to be that best version of themselves and really thrive. And that's what how I sort of look at cars. I also look at it from a perspective of tax. Obviously, tax is a big part of it. Tax efficient as well. So you've got certain benefits with electric cars and how it affects your P11D and so forth. So these are all factors. So we have to, it's part of our life. It's part of what we've got to do. So yes, it's important. But in terms of what I do on a personal basis, I don't get too fascinated. If a Lamborghini drives past or whatever, it doesn't really rock my boat or don't do anything for me. But each to their own. I do respect people who put a lot of work and effort in, and if they can buy themselves a good car, hats off to them. And I respect those individuals, because it's an aspirational thing, and we've all got to have aspiration. We've got to have growth, and for a lot of people it is cars, and I understand it, I respect it, and that's fantastic. Yeah,
brilliant. It's such a good way of looking at it, and you brought it back into it's about business, isn't it, at the end of the day? So no, fantastic. But thank you so much.
Thank you,
Safaraz. It's been I've learned so much today from you, and more about your story and everything that you've been involved in. So
thank you for the invitation.
Hit the objectives really for me.
Thank you, Kel.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kel. Thank you. Hi there, my name is Safaraz Ali, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be featured as a guest on MotorServe TV. Been an absolute delight, and I recommend anybody else to watch MotorServe TV. Look forward to catching up with you. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thanks for watching episode 22 today. I hope you found that as enjoyable as we did, and I hope you got a lot of content from that, because I know I did. So thanks very much for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel, and if you are interested in content like this, please do watch our other episodes on the channel now and in future. Thanks very much.